I seem so chippy, I'm unready, I love the no joke.
So, let me pause this music. Alright, so, the topics I want to hit on are stagnation and communication. So, you ever have so much to say in your head, and then when the moment to communicate, it just is not there anymore? When you verbally go to emote everything that you in your head wish that you could communicate. As I grow older, I'm learning not to have like a quick response when it comes to communication. I think in my youth and in my past versions of myself, I was so reactive and explosive to communicate, to tell you exactly everything that I wanted to tell you so that you knew how I felt or what exactly I wanted to say. But now that I've grown, I've healed some, I wouldn't say all, but that I've grown, I'm learning how important communication is to submit effectively. Like, I used to just think, oh, I'm telling them everything and everything that's in my brain and this and that. But it's like nobody really cares if they don't understand, or if you're communicating things out of context that they're not really concerned about. I used to be like an over-explainer, explaining my behavior, reactions, or why I did the things that I did. But now, like, I'm to the age where, like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. And if you don't understand it, that's up to you. But back to communication and just the importance of how to effectively communicate with people. I am learning at this age, and just trial and error of my past, of just like not knowing how to communicating too much. Woo, big boy. And just properly not expressing myself, or not properly expressing myself to the right people or in the right times. So in many of my past relationships, connections, not like just intimate relationships, but connections with my family, I've always struggled with feeling not heard, not understood. And it was because I was communicating at improper times or to the improper people for certain situations. But it's like, once you learn that nobody really gives a fuck what you have to say at all moments and how you feel in every second, like, it really does become so much easier to just communicate with people. And you have to learn with the person that you're communicating what their communication style is, how they perceive things that you're saying, because you might say it one way and they may perceive it the other way. And it's like, you didn't mean it that way, but they're taking it that way. So then it's a misfire. You're not understanding them, they're not understanding you. But recently, I've had some situations in my life, and it's like been such a drastic change, because because I've changed how I've communicated myself to them. And I've paused and I've thought about things, and it's like, instead of getting on my phone and or in the personal, face to face, letting the fire rise and coming at them, I've paused myself, which, you know, I've heard people in the past, you know, say, take time, you know, don't participate in confrontation if you're not comfortable in it. But like, that's not who I was. It was boom, you trigger me, I'm triggered. It's 0 to 1,000 real quick. But there's been certain situations where I've seen like myself like communicate in different ways. Like I had to like literally like delete a text, start over again, and then just say, you know what, let's take a break, let's go take a walk, see how we feel about the situation, return to it. And if you return to it and you still have that same taking the pause within myself to kind of debrief how I'm feeling, and then think about how this person may be feeling in the situation, and not just respond and communicate to what I'm feeling, but communicate in a way that not only presents my emotions in the scenario, but explains or gives them grace as well in the situation. Like, I am communicating to you in this way. I am not trying to be offensive, because I want us to both be able to communicate comfortably to each other and not take anything out of context or blow up on each other or, you know, hold grudges or send unwanted energy to any party involved in the situation, good or bad. It's just I'm learning like proper ways to communicate with people, and it's blowing my mind how simple it's been, but the results that I'm getting is just, it's blowing my mind to just talk to people simply or simplistically, I don't know if that's a word, but it's been blowing my mind to just see how the situations have gone from here, like just in the height of the moment, to me completely de-escalating, and just them being like, oh, I understand, and I'm glad that you approached it like this, because I didn't want it to escalate to a situation where we harbored anger, or where we felt like we couldn't talk to each other about these things. And then also in good situations, just how simplifying what I'm saying and making sure that I am present in the communication, even whether it's something I don't necessarily care about or something I'm not particularly interested in. I try to give that person the validation of like, I'm here, I hear you. But also I'm learning to set boundaries. Like, I don't have 5 hours to listen to you tell me stories about things that are not important to me, or things that I'm not interested in, or things that I have no business knowing. I don't care about your co-worker's husband meth addiction and them getting divorced, because that's not my business. So I no longer participate in conversations like that. Ugh, I don't know. I'm getting sidetracked. But the thing, I'm just learning, we all have to learn how to communicate in effective ways that not only serve us, but that we also take in consideration whomever and whatever situation in which we're trying to communicate. Now I feel like I'm Kamala Harris explaining things in roundabout ways that don't really make sense. I don't know. It makes sense to me, but I don't know. But anyway, the point of this is just, if you're struggling with communication in your life, whether it's with coworkers, in your relationships, intimately, family, take a second to just replay scenarios in which you're communicating with people, their responses, and how you feel on the inside when you're communicating or responding to people in certain kind of ways. This has been a game changer for me. I don't know if this might be something that someone else is out there struggling with, communication. And also, don't let others guilt trip you into, because you are not communicating with them. If you're not communicating with someone, if it's a boundary, if you're not harboring any anger or resentment, okay, don't let them put you into a guilt trip because you're not talking to someone. Like, communication is so crazy. Like, it's so crazy, especially now in this age. We have this thing that, back in like the Pony Express days, like, or back in like the very olden ages, like, you had to send like a pigeon or something to somebody to get a letter, or like ride a horse for like thousands of miles. Like, it might have taken you a month to get a letter to somebody or something. So it's like, we are so fortunate to have like instant communication with people, but also it's like, sometimes I feel like it would be better, like, if we didn't have such instant communication with people. Like, if we did have to sit down and write letters to people, like, I feel like it would give us more time to process communication, or what we're trying to communicate effectively. It would give us more time to like actually feel what is right to say, instead of just going off a reaction, responding responding in manners that aren't so productive for for maintaining good connections, good relationships. And it's like, some of us don't have proper examples of how to communicate, or how to simply just express what we're feeling in proper ways. For me, I was one of those type of people, and I am learning later in life how effective proper communication is. So if this is something you're struggling with, I'm going to just say, give yourself grace, but also give others grace. Give others grace. Some people you probably don't need to be communicating with. Some people just are toxic as shit, and they have to go on their own journey to figure that shit out. But really, the key actions that I've been working in or integrating in my life have been giving myself a pause in any situation, even if in a good situation, if me and someone are vibing and I'm just like super happy, like, oh my gosh, we're on the same vibe, like you and I, like, oh, this that, like I've been even becoming more aware of that and like toning it down and saying, you know what, let's give it time. You know, silence is golden. Silence is really golden. That's something more and more as I get older, I am really starting to understand, comprehend, appreciate. It really is like people that you can just like, you don't have to say everything that comes to your mind. You don't have to say every single thing. You don't have to tell, like, there can be moments of silence and it's not awkward. It's like I enjoy being able to sit with someone that like I care about a lot, or that, you know, I just find intriguing, or that I just am vibing with, in complete silence, like reading a book, or they're over there, you know, writing in a journal, I'm reading a book or something, whatever the situation is. It's cool to just like know that like we mess with each other so hard that we just simply like being in each other's presence. Like, and this is not even like a romantic thing, this is just a homie thing. Like, you know, I went to a homie's house the other day, and like they were working on some stuff, and I just picked up a book and started to read it. But it was like we hadn't seen each other in a long time. But it's like, but we were going to get dinner, but they just wanted to finish up what they were doing, whatever. So I knew, like, hey, let them do what they need to do. And at dinner, like, we'll decompress, we'll be able to catch up, we'll be able to, like, you know, talk and do, you know, communicate and connect on whatever level that we're connecting on at that point. But it was just like, it just clicked. It was like so peaceful, and it wasn't weird, it wasn't awkward, and like this is what I love. It's like we're even communicating even though we're not. Like, in a way, I don't know, I might be on a level with this one, but it was like, it was just like, I am so thrilled and happy to be in your presence. Like, we don't even have to say anything verbally. We just like, we hugged, we embraced, and then we just peacefully sat. And then when she was done, she was like, all right, let's go, girl, like, what's up, what's going on, blah blah blah, you know. And it was just like so nice that it was like that peace, that silence between us. I don't know, just amazing. But anyway, if you're having trouble with communication, one, not everyone's going to understand where you're at in your mind, and you need to become more aware of that. Just because you want to say what's off the top of your head doesn't mean you should. You really probably should. And then you gotta, to also, your environment that you're in, just like if you're walking in a store, like, you probably shouldn't be talking about your personal business on the telephone, on speakerphone to somebody. Just like, these are all certain ways that we're communicating who we are to the outside world. Even though you're not directly talking to like that person that's walking down the aisle looking for some cereal, they overheard you talking about your business to whoever you're talking to, or FaceTiming on the phone, because you're putting it out there, and then if they look at you a certain way, like, you want to be offended, but like, you're communicating that to the outside world. So it's like, you really got to start looking at yourself and realizing, like, not everybody wants to hear what you have to say. Not everybody is going to want to hear what you have to say. And you have to be more intentional with what you are saying. As I was saying earlier, I'm learning just to simplify things. Like, no matter if I'm mad, upset, excited, like, some people aren't going to want to hear, you know, some people, like, just are very like, okay, tell me this, tell me that. Okay, I'm glad. I'm happy for you. Whatever. Or this person did what? Whatever it is. Learn how to simplify what you're trying to say or what you're trying to communicate. I feel like that's been helping me tremendously. I used to be this person that would like type books to people, like literally like pages of text. Like, no one really cares unless like you're on the New York Times bestseller list, author, something like that, world renowned. Like, nobody is caring about your feelings that much. And I think another part of this is I've learned within myself, like, to communicate to myself, like, is this needed to say? Do you need to say this to this person in this manner? Do you need to say this in this situation at this time? Like, look at your past. Has this situation occurred where you might have responded like this? How did that end? Where did it get you? Should you do that again? Should you think about this before you say anything? Should you take a break? Should you take some deep breaths? And I know that shit sounds like, oh, it doesn't work, or that's that white people shit, or sorry, excuse me. I'm trying not to bring race into anything that I do anymore. That's that woohoo type of shit. Like, a deep breath. Is that really gonna stop me from going off? Yes, girl, it just might. Yes, sir, it just might. Like, try it. Going for a walk, like, that's been really effective for me. I'm a person who likes to walk anyway, and I gain a little weight, so I need to be walking myself everywhere to get this extra weight off. But it really does help, like, especially in communication in a situation where it is not particularly a good situation, or where there are sides of the situation where one person might be angry or one person might not feel understood or heard. Like, take the time to really think about what you're saying. Don't just go in all gun ho unless you are very healed, unless you are very well put together and you know exactly how to navigate a conversation or a situation with somebody where you can communicate with them on a level of which the outcome will not be them exploding, will not be you exploding, will not be anybody getting mad at each other, anybody not, oh, I don't want to talk to you, we're not friends, we're not family, whatever the situation is. Oh, well, that's fine, we won't talk to each other forever, that kind of stuff. Think about what you're saying. No matter how hurt or angry you are, really take time to make sure that what you were saying not only is going to be expressing how you feel, but it also will take in consideration of how that other person feels. That is what I'm really learning. It's like, it's not just a one-sided thing, like, I feel this way. Blah! You have to like kind of say, I feel this way because, but try not to blame it on them. Try not to say, because you did this or you did that, but say, I felt this way, and this might not have been what you were intending for the outcome to be, but this is how I felt. And I'm only saying this because I don't want to hold it in. I don't want it to cause any more turmoil between us. And I want to be able to talk to you. I want to be able to communicate with you without confrontation. And I know some people say, "Oh, confrontation's good." No, my whole life, everybody in my life, like, I came from a background of domestic violence, narcissism, drugs, abuse, alcohol, addiction, prostituting, you name it, crazy shit. I've seen it and I've been in it my whole life. So, no, confrontation is not good for anybody. Confrontation does not work. It doesn't. It's not good. It's not good. But communicating effectively, it is game changing. And it can be different. When I say communicating effectively, it can be whatever works for you. Me, it's been taking time to really think before I speak in any situation, good or bad. Seeing both sides or all sides of whoever I'm communicating or whatever situation I'm communicating in, and kind of like playing it out. Like, this is how it could go if I say this. This is how it may go if I say this, but maybe I take some time and then I come back and see how I'm feeling at that point. And then I might say something completely different. But it's just learning the biggest thing, I think, is just learning that not everything in your mind needs to be said. Not everything that you want to say, you need to say. That's the biggest tip I can give. Not everything in your brain and mind do you need to say. No, baby. Just think about it. Just think about it. But yeah, that is the topic of communication I wanted to cover, because I just felt like there might be other people out there that are having trouble communicating. It may be hurting their connections, their relationships, their progression in life, really. Because when you think about it, communication is just like one of the core things that we need to do as a human to like get through life. If you don't know how to communicate with people, you're not going to get very far. And I'm just learning in life proper ways of communicating and just tips along the way every day with different people I come into contact with, different status, different cultures. And it's like, I can pretty much talk to any type of person and like pretty much have a great conversation at this point. Mostly. Interpersonal conversations or connections. Family, still working on that, still got some trauma, still got some growing to do, still got some learning to do. But it has gotten tremendously better with my family. Well, with some people in my family. Other people still working on it. Still got a lot to do. But yeah, and I feel like getting better in my communication is opening so many other doors. It's opening or it's providing opportunities that were not available to me because of my mindset and how I was communicating to people and just communicating things into this world, which I think is a really, really big thing. Inner communication with yourself, your brain, your mind, your thoughts, what you're putting out there into the world for yourself, what you're communicating. Like if you're saying, oh, I'm never gonna do this, I'm never gonna make it, oh, I'm so fat, I can't do it, like that is the shit that's gonna come to you because you're communicating that to everything within this world. So really, that's another part of communication I've been working on, my inner communication with myself, like not having bad thoughts about myself, negative thoughts, and like really, really trying to go on affirmations and like instilling positivity in myself, like for real, like girl, you're that girl, girl, you're amazing, girl, anybody tell you you look beautiful today? Like because you do, you look beautiful. Like sometimes you just gotta tell yourself, and then voices that you hear like, oh, you'll never, I'm never gonna be able to do this, da 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 da. Girl, start blocking that out. Sir, start blocking that out. Like, build yourself up. 2025, like, it's time to come up. It's time to come up in every single way, every single facet. We are going up. Hold on to the guardrails. As Kevin Gates says, we flying out up here. Okay. But I didn't get to procrastination, stagnation. Girl, I can't talk. Sir, I can't talk. I was mute until I was 7. Like, there's some shit I need to work on. But being stagnant, that will be in a video to come soon for sure. But yeah, take a look. Take a look. So look inside, deep inside. Think of in the past of ways that you communicated that you could have communicated better, and just try to instill better ways, whatever that may be for you in your life, where you're at, of how to communicate better to get you to where you want to be, because that's the goal, getting to where you want to be. I'm going to give you 3 books. Some of these may not apply to you, but these 3 books I would definitely recommend if you're having any type of trouble with communication in your life. First one is going to be The 4 Keys to Effective Communication, I believe it's called. I think it's The 4 Keys of Effective Communication. The next one is I Never Thought of It That Way. And then the last one, this only probably resonates to my melanated kings and queens out there. Things Black people were never taught, or things Black people aren't taught. Google it, I'm sure the book will come up. But yeah, check out those books if this is something you're struggling with, and if this is resonating with you, this was for you. It was meant for you. Work on your communication, girl, sir, ma'am, sir. I need to stop saying girl, because not everybody is girls out here. Some of us are ladies, young ladies, such as myself. So, ma'am, sir, you know what you need to do. You know what you need to do. You know what's holding you back. You know what's creating roadblocks in your life. You know what's keeping you from getting to where you want to be. Start working on it. Please. I'm working on it. I'm trying my best. I'm out here in these streets every day, working on myself, trying my hardest. Because I'm trying to get to where I want to be, okay? I don't know about anybody else, but I'm trying to get there, and I hope that you get there. I hope that you get there. I hope we all get there. I hope we all win. I hope we all get to wherever it is we want to be. But this was the topic. I know I said two in the beginning, stagnation and communication, but we had to focus on the communication because I feel like a lot of us need to work on it, me included, and I have been, and I'm gonna keep working on it. But yeah, communication, check out those books. I'll put the links in the I'll put the links in the description. Check them out. And yeah, like, keep working on it, sis. Keep working on it, king. Keep working on it, ma'am. Keep working on it, sir. You got this. You got this. Keep going. Keep going. Keep pushing. Keep going. You got this.